Well, welcome back to Rough Restos for yet another episode on the M113 Capri conversion. So, as you may have seen in the last episode, we've now pretty much got the standalone management and wiring looms all done, which is fantastic. That was probably the single biggest job left to do the whole build. There's obviously lots of other stuff to do yet, but that was the single biggest job, and the one I was most dreading, although it's the one I'm most comfortable doing. That's now mostly done. So, soon there's going to be a very exciting time. But before that, because I've been cheap and I use Speeduino ECU, I already have one and I quite like it, and my dash setup's all set up for that. I didn't really want to spend £3 putting a ECU in which could do fly-by-wire and a compatible dashboard setup. Just why when I've already got everything I need without spending that money on a setup I'm more happy with. So, does mean I have to use cable throttle. Now, no M113s came with cable throttle, or M112s I think. So, I've got to somehow convert the electronic throttle body to cable and add a throttle position sensor. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, and I don't know what I'm doing. So, what's the worst that can happen? So, this is what I'm stuck with here. We have the throttle body, nice and dirty there, which goes into our intake manifold and our flaps and such and bits and bobs. Basically, this needs to be cable driven. Here is the throttle position sensor we installed in the last video from an Evo, which ideally, because the way this one's driven and the spring, needs to go on there. And this side needs to have a cable driven actuation for the throttle, which I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I guess the first thing is going to be to take the throttle body off, strip it apart, establish what mechanicals we've actually got to play with and what we can work with here, and then work out what space we need. I have bought a few parts that might aid in doing it, and then, well, this is the old throttle cable, which we can obviously adapt to do that one, which could be fun. So, let's get this off a minute, start stripping this apart and see what we've got to play with. So, the throttle body off is quite simple. I'll remove the end plug here to reveal we've already got a sort of centre hole in this end shaft. So I can use that to possibly drill and tap something to come out to our throttle position sensor, which will be perfect. This end, we've got this big plastic cog. Now I can either attach something to a plastic cog, or what I'm thinking is maybe welding something to a shaft in the middle here, which then comes out using maybe some of these washers to a pulley. And like it does on a Mark II Golf, on the throttle body, the cable will wrap around a pulley and it'll pull it rather than have like a lever. Obviously a lever will work fine, but a pulley is more consistent because every like millimetre throttle cable movement is the exact same amount. It's linear, as opposed to an arm wouldn't be linear, because when you're pulling it you'll get different rates depending on where the cable and the arm is, so it makes sense. Either way really don't matter, but I'm thinking a pulley would be quite simple. That, and then I've obviously got these M6 standard cable adjusters here I can use to make an adapter to go from that to the throttle cable itself, kind of like I've done here already. So shorten that, make one of them adapters. Yeah. So I'm going to see if that's possible, but the first thing I need to know really is how much the cable moves on a pedal. So from where the pedal sits normally to the floor, how much movement is that? So from closed to open, because I need to make this same amount of, that amount of cable travel to go from being fully closed to fully open on this throttle body. Else obviously I'm going to have like part throttle pedal movement, or I'm going to have put my foot to the floor and the throttle body won't be all the way open. So yeah, I think now is the case just to work out, maybe if I cut this cable and I make it stick out a minute and work out exactly from resting position to the floor, how much does that cable move? Let's find out. So I've wedged the cable in the throttle pedal in normal position a minute, so idle position, and we have 70mm of cable stick out. So if we unwedge the throttle pedal, you see it's sitting at normal position down there. You probably can't see too well. If we unwedge it now and try and go full throttle. Oh, there's a spring on it. I think I put a spring on it, to be fair. So I did some calculations, and basically from the 75mm of stick out to then the cable, the throttle pedal being down, was 50mm difference. So the cable was pulled in by 50mm to go from idle to wide open throttle, which means, in terms of sophistication, this throttle body opens about 85 degrees. So we'll work on a basis of about 90 degrees really. But so from the throttle body being fully closed, we need a cable attached to like here to pull it around 90 degrees based on 50mm travel. So if that's 50mm, the circumference of a circle would have to be 200mm. To be a 200mm circle. So let me just work out what the diameter a minute of a circle that has a radius, circumference of 200mm is. So I've done a bit of quick math, and basically the circumference of 200mm it's gone off now, brings back a diameter of 63mm. Wow, that's for 90 degrees. We only need to move 80 degrees, so even if we said sort of maybe 60mm-ish, which is pretty much what this is here. So we've got that one there. So if I put that on there, got a bigger hole going around, so I just trace around a 2.5-inch pipe. Gives me this lip around the outside of it. If I cut 2 of them discs, I can sandwich this in between the discs, and that would give me that little pulley I need. So then the cable would route in around the pulley, but all I've got to do is attach this pulley onto that shaft. I think this is going to work. So, things have maybe progressed since I last stopped recording. So I tapped the ends of the shafts to M4 thread. Made these little spacers and this pulley here. So what will happen is the cable wraps around the pulley into that hole there, and then you lock the cable off. And then obviously with the 50mm movement from my pedal, that does the full amount of travel on the throttle body. So that's really simple and easy. And the other side here, all I've done is, put a bolt in the end of a shaft there, which tapped that to M4, shaped the head of a bolt to match the shape of a TPS, and made a bracket to mount it. So, oh, and also an extra, popped in a little idle screw at the top here, so I can set a bit of manual opening for idle. That's it. So there's no point me showing you any more detail, because overall it's actually quite simple. Yeah, so I guess bolt it back on a minute. And there she is, all bolted in. It actually kind of looks not that rough. Yeah, I'll take that. So we've got a little cable wheel here with a cable on it and a little screw connection. I dropped one of the screws though, so it's somewhere around here. That obviously goes around the back of the pulley, up to this plate here that's bent, and then on here we have an M6 cable adjuster. Goes through that to a cable to a car. You put your foot down on the throttle, and then it opens wide open throttle perfect. And then obviously in here goes my multi-pin plug, wherever I've got it now. There it is. That one goes on there for my sensor. Excellent. So I know this video was just a bit of a limited one, obviously doing one thing only, but quite a fun and interesting little job, and actually went better than expected. Being able to sort of drill and tap into a shaft really helped a lot. It made things a lot simpler. Yeah, so I think I'm pretty happy how it turned out. It should be quite reliable, does the job perfect. and it fits within the space I got to make it fit. So if you're kind of, well, this is the first Capri video you've seen. There is plenty more on the channel with this build, and there'll be plenty more probably afterwards as well. Obviously I've got to get that engine running in that bay. The next episode is going to be getting that engine running, which I'll be starting in a moment, which I'm looking forward to, but big job, because obviously it's never run on standalone and new ECU and all that kind of stuff, so it's all going to be configured and set up yet. So yeah, next job is going to be rigging that up. I'm pretty happy. So yeah, if you liked the video, then why not actually give it a like, drop me a comment on what you think, obviously subscribe for plenty more, and yeah, hope I see you again next time. I've been Jordan, cheers.